Owning a home in Florida used to be simple. You found a little place on a quiet street, you paid it off over the years, and that was the whole plan. That was the dream. Now, in most of the state, that same dream means a $400,000 house and a monthly payment that eats half your income before you've even bought groceries. The statewide median home value in Florida sits right around $400,000 today, and a lot of people have quietly decided the dream is just dead. But here is the good news. It is not dead. It is hiding. It is hiding in the small towns and rural corners the investors never bothered with, and the job market drove right past, where a real, livable house still sells for a price that, the first time you see it, you will think has to be a typo. I am talking about towns where you will pull up the listing, look at the number, and check it twice, because it feels almost illegal that a home in Florida can still cost this little. So today we are counting down 10 Florida small towns where home prices are so low you will check the listing twice. And I promise you, a few of these are going to surprise you. Stay until number 1, because by the end of this video, at least one of you is going to be on Zillow. Let us take a look. Number 10, Bowling Green in Hardy County. Now I know what you are thinking. You have never heard of it, and you are wondering how a town this small even made the list. Bowling Green is tiny, a community of right around 2,400 people, settled back in the 1880s, sitting in the heart of Florida's citrus and phosphate country. This is real old Florida. A main road, a few churches, orange groves running right up to the edge of town, and almost no traffic in any direction. What makes Bowling Green work is exactly what most people would overlook. It is small, quiet, and built on agriculture, which means it never got swept up in the coastal price mania. My honest assessment, and I will always give you the catch, is that this is rural living. The nearest big shopping is a drive, and the job market here is farming and not much else. But if you are retired, working from home, or buying with cash, that quiet is the entire point. You are not coming here for a career. You are coming here to own your life outright. The typical home value in Bowling Green is right around $174,000. In Florida, that is where we are starting, and the next town is cheaper still. Number 9, Frostproof, also in Polk County. The name alone tells you the story. The town was supposedly called Frostproof because the lakes around it kept the citrus groves from freezing, and to this day it is surrounded by water and old grove land. This is a lake town, plain and simple, with more than 100 lakes nearby for fishing and boating. What makes Frostproof special is that lake access usually comes with a luxury price tag in Florida, and here it simply does not. The honest catch is that the downtown is small and weathered, and the citrus industry that built this place has been shrinking for years. But for a retiree or a remote worker who wants to wake up near the water without a coastal mortgage, that is the opportunity hiding in plain sight. The typical home value in Frostproof is right around $205,000, and you are buying near the lakes for that. That brings us to number 8. Number 8, Wauchula, the seat of Hardy County. Wauchula calls itself the cucumber capital of the world, and the personality shows. There is a real historic courthouse, a genuine downtown square, and the kind of small farming town character that most of Florida bulldozed decades ago. The thing that makes Wauchula special is that anchor. The towns that quietly die are the ones with nothing to hold them together, and Wauchula has a courthouse, a downtown, and a deep agricultural identity. My honest assessment is that this is working farm country, so it is hot in the summer, and the economy lives and dies with the harvest. But if you want a real town with a real center, where your dollar stretches twice as far, this is it. The typical home value in Wauchula sits right around $200,000, and the next town is the oldest community in its entire county. Number 7, Avon Park in Highlands County. Avon Park is the oldest town in Highlands County, and it carries that history well, with a long tree-lined main street locals call the Mall, a small college, and a string of lakes around the edges. What makes Avon Park special is that it sits inland, away from the coast and the hurricane-driven insurance spikes that have wrecked budgets closer to the water. The honest catch is that it is a quieter, older community, so if you want nightlife, this is not your town. But if you are planning a calm, Affordable retirement with a college and a hospital nearby, that is a serious checklist quietly handled. The typical home value in Avon Park is right around $205,000. That takes us to number 6, up in the Panhandle. Number 6, Chipley, up in Washington County in the Florida Panhandle. Chipley is a different flavor of Florida entirely. This is the rolling, piney part of the state closer to Alabama than to Miami in both miles and feel, and it is home to Falling Waters State Park, which has the tallest waterfall in Florida. What makes Chipley special is that panhandle land and slower pace, with a genuine small downtown and state park scenery on the doorstep. My honest assessment is that you are a real distance from any major city up here, and that isolation is not for everyone. But for the right buyer who wants land, trees, and quiet over convenience, Chipley delivers all of it for a fraction of coastal prices. Homes here regularly list in the low 200s, with plenty of options well under that for buyers willing to look. That is Chipley. All right, we are 6 towns in. Before the back half, notice something. Every town so far has one thing in common. They all have a reason to exist: a courthouse, a lake, a college, a state park, an anchor. The towns that truly die are the ones with nothing holding them together, and not one of these is on that path. Keep that in mind, because the next 5 are even better. And if you would rather own a quiet home outright than rent a nice view you can never afford, you and I think the same way. Subscribe, because the back half of this list is the best part. Number 5, and this is the surprise, Quincy, in Gadsden County, just west of Tallahassee. Here's the part nobody tells you about Quincy. A century ago, this little tobacco town may have been one of the wealthiest towns per person in the entire country. Local bankers told farmers to buy stock in a new soft drink called Coca-Cola. Dozens of them did, and Quincy quietly minted a town full of millionaires. The grand old homes from that era are still standing today. What makes Quincy special is exactly that. You get genuine historic architecture, a real downtown, and Tallahassee a short drive away for the airport, the hospitals, and the jobs. The honest catch is that the tobacco wealth left long ago, and the town has been working its way back since. But that is precisely why the prices are what they are. You are buying history near a capital city for a small town price. Typical home values in Quincy sit right around $200,000, and for the character you are getting, that number genuinely does not add up the way it should. And number 4 is even cheaper. Number 4, Perry, the seat of Taylor County, up where the Panhandle meets the Gulf. Perry calls itself the tree capital of the South, surrounded by working timberland with the Gulf Coast and the little fishing town of Steinhatchee within reach. This is forgotten, working Florida, and it has been through it lately, with storms moving through this stretch of coast in recent years. What makes Perry an opportunity is that those storms, on top of a quiet timber economy, have pushed prices down while everyone looked away. The honest catch is real here. This is a working town that has taken some hits, and it is not polished. But for a cash buyer or a fixed-income retiree who wants Gulf access without a Gulf front price, the math is extraordinary. The median sale price in Taylor County has been running right around $166,000, and individual homes around Perry have recently sold well under that. That is Gulf-adjacent Florida for less than many people pay for a truck. Number 3 is a true crossroads of the state. Number 3, Lake City in Columbia County. They call Lake City the gateway to Florida because this is where Interstate 75 and Interstate 10 cross. The doorway snowbirds drive through every winter. It is one of the larger places on this list, with real services, a hospital, restaurants, and shopping, surrounded by springs and forest. What makes Lake City special is that combination of genuine amenities and low prices, which is rare. The honest catch is that as a crossroads town, it has more traffic and chain development than the tiny places earlier on this list. So it trades some charm for convenience. But if you want to be cheap and still close to everything, this is the sweet spot. The typical home value in Lake City is right around $260,000, and the older, established neighborhoods come in well below that. If you are still with me at number 3, you are clearly the type who does the math before a big move. Subscribe, because I cover towns like this every single week. Now the top 2. Number 2, Sebring, in Highlands County, the town built around a lake and a racetrack. Sebring is famous for two things: the historic Sebring International Raceway and beautiful Lake Jackson, with a charming circular historic downtown wrapped right around the water. This is a genuine destination town, not a forgotten one, which is what makes the price so striking. Here is why Sebring belongs near the top. Unlike a lot of Florida, prices here have actually softened recently, which means you are catching this lakeside town on a dip. The honest catch is that summers are hot, and it is an inland drive from any beach. But for a retiree who wants a real downtown, a real lake, and a little personality without a coastal price, Sebring is hard to beat. The average home value in Sebring is right around $235,000, and it is actually down a couple percent over the past year, while most of the country went up. You are buying a lake town on sale, and that brings us finally to number one. Number one, and I need you to hear me out on this one, Dixie County on the Gulf Coast, anchored by the little towns of Cross City and Old Town. This is the one that will make you check the listing twice, and then a third time. Dixie County is real, wild, old Florida, Gulf access, the famous fishing village of Steinhatchee right next door, salt marsh, forest, and almost no crowds anywhere. Here is what makes it number one. The job market never really arrived out here, and that means prices never ran away the way they did everywhere else in the state. My honest assessment is that this is the most rural place on the entire list. You are trading hospitals, shopping, and convenience for space, quiet, and water, and that is a real trade you have to want. But for the right person, a cash buyer, a retiree, a remote worker who is genuinely done with the noise, this is the deal of a lifetime in Florida. The typical home value across Dixie County sits right around $135,000. But that is just the average. Dig into what has actually been selling out here, and you find livable homes that have closed for $113,000, for $94,000, and small places that have traded for $35,000 and even $10,000. Real parcels on the Gulf side of Florida for the price of a used car. You read it right, and yes, you should go check it for yourself. So why are these 10 towns so affordable? It comes down to three forces. First, the industry left or it never came. The citrus, the tobacco, the timber, the phosphate. When the jobs faded, prices never inflated the way they did on the coast. Second, low cost of living and low demand. These are inland and rural towns, away from the hurricane-driven insurance spikes that crushed coastal budgets. So a dollar simply goes further. And third, the arbitrage. If your income is portable, a pension, Social Security, or a remote paycheck, you can carry that money into a town the market forgot and live like the rules do not apply to you. Add it up, and you get towns the market left behind, which is exactly why they are the best deal left in Florida for the right person. So whether you are relocating, planning ahead, or just tired of paying city prices for city problems, I hope this list gave you a place to start. Those are 10 Florida towns where owning a home outright is still completely real. Subscribe so you catch next week's list. And tell me in the comments which one of these you would actually move to. Everybody have a great day. Be nice to each other.